Yeah, I would like to thank AOS for giving us this opportunity and the audience for maybe delaying your lunch and coming to this hall to listen to what we have to speak on this topic. So, can all types of RDs be managed with small gauge VR surgeries? So mine is going to be a small video presentation. So as Shomak was trying to say that a simple RD remains simple only if you follow the basic principles. This was a pseudophakic guy, and so we had planned a VR surgery. It's a simple one, as you can see, but PVD had to be induced, and Triamcinolone comes really handy to ensure that you are removing the vitreous completely. Breaks or always need to be identified. One missed brake, it's the end of the story. And always remember that all traction around the brakes has to be cleared off. And of course, there is no scope for compromise on these basic principles. Another relatively simple RD with multiple temporal brakes, as you can see. It's all being done under the wide angle. We use the Rolls wide angle visualization system. It's basically a contact system. You could use the biome also. The rolled edges of the brake always needs to be trimmed. These are basic principles. The peripheral vitreous needs to be cleared, and with the wide angle visualization, things have got easier, and the illumination that Dr. Sinha was talking of has made life pretty much easier. If you have put in a chandelier or torpedo, you can even do a depression and a base excision with depression, because your hand hold for the light pipe can be free then. So you have options. And I would always say that do a fluid air exchange at around 30 so that you are sure that you are not forcefully settling the retina. And this is what happens if basic principles are not followed. This was a VR surgery which was attempted elsewhere. It failed, as you could see. There was subretinal silicon oil, which has come off now. There's a lot of residual vitreous. So without removing vitreous, just kind of lasering and putting in oil doesn't save your day. And always remember that first attempt is always the best attempt. Try and do things textbook in the very first go, else things can be pretty tricky and difficult. See, due to silicon oil caused inflammation. The PVD induction is so very difficult. The heaps and heaps of vitreous left, and it was an oil filled eye. And laser to the brake with incomplete removal of the vitreous has led to formation of vitreous traction band. And unfortunately, I've caused an nitrogenic brake while trying to relieve the traction band. But anyway, we have spent our lifetime sealing brakes. So the goal should be to remove traction, even if you have caused a brake, especially if that's in the periphery, it doesn't matter much. Of course, you should also try and prevent iatrogenic brakes, not to say that you can cause brakes after brakes. The inferior brake is freed of the residual vitreous. And I mean, it was quite difficult vitreous removal, so I thought I'll use the bimanual technique to ensure a more complete and a more controlled membranous vitreous. It's no longer the gel-like vitreous. So the bimanual option was more helpful here. PF is now injected, followed by fluid air exchange through the peripheral brakes. Because of these wide angle visualization system, the need for doing a separate retinotomy to drain a subretinal fluid has really gone down. So you can see that an encerclage had been put by the previous surgeon, but there was traction, intrinsic retinal shortening even over that. So I did a retinectomy in that area. But remember, before doing a retinectomy, always clear all obvious pre-retinal traction. Before sacrificing any part of the retina, be sure that there is no other way but only that. And of course, such cases need to be re-injected with silicone oil. This is a case where you have PVR D2, as you can see. The retina is pretty thin because the RD is pretty old. There are multiple breaks. We all know that more the number of breaks, the higher the chance of PVR and advanced PVR. Yeah, there was also a break in the mid periphery, not very much in the periphery. So PFCL is being used to support the posterior pole, and then the periretinal membranes, which is causing the funneling to happen, is removed one by one. Furthermore, PFCL is injected. After having removed all obvious pre-retinal membranes, I still find an intrinsic shortening causing tautness in that area. So left with not much choice but to do a retinectomy in that area. And always, I mean, while doing a retinectomy, be on the liberal side. I mean, because sometimes later on you might repent. I mean, maybe if I had done a little bit more on that area, then the tautness wouldn't have remained. So be a little liberal while doing your retinectomies. PFCL is now removed. The break in the mid periphery is also lasered and silicone oil injected. This is again a recurrent RD post VR surgery attempted elsewhere. Triamcinolone is always handy. Residual vitreous strands are seen, picked up, removed. And again, since this is an advanced PVR, I decide to handle it bimanually. The periretinal membranes are removed. So there is a torpedo which is there at 6 o'clock position, which is giving me the illumination. It's a 25 gauge torpedo which I have put in. All the brakes are marked and the roll edge is trimmed. Marking the brakes is more important in cases where the retina would be tessellated, like in a high myope. Sometimes later on, after an FG, you might miss the brakes otherwise. So you need to remove all possible pre-retinal membrane, but don't get over aggressive, otherwise you lead to multiple iatrogenic breaks. Sometimes if later on under the oil you find a membrane when you're doing a silicone oil removal, you can remove the epiretinal membrane. So aggression is important, but not over aggression. Again, with PFCL support posteriorly, the peripheral vitreous is shaved off. Fluid air exchange begun. And again, the fluid air exchange is set at 30, so that it's not a forceful compression and settlement of the retina. Again, in this area, see, there was a tautness which was remaining, and we had at least removed all the obvious pre-retinal membranes. So you had to do a retinectomy in that area. This is under the air though. PFCL bubble is removed from the posterior pole, and silicone oil is injected with VFC. This also is a new wind of change. It wasn't there before. We used to need apply a lot of strength to actually push in silicon oil. No longer. And now, it's not just routine regmatogenous retinal detachments, but even the secondary retinal detachments, which are also known as combined retinal detachments, can be handled pretty well with these small gauge instruments. The cutter tip being close to the cutter port being close to the tip is of great advantage, as was highlighted by both Shomok and Dr. Sinha, and that's called port optimization. So all pre-retinal and also subretinal traction needs to be relieved. Triamcinolone is always handy. Never shy away from using triamcinolone. It might consume a little bit of extra time, but always helps on the long run. Subretinal band was noted there and got removed. There was some residual vitreous membrane in that area which was cleared, and this is followed by the routine. So this is again a secondary regmatogenous detachment, a very bad one, that is for sure. But this was the only eye, and the patient wanted us to take it up for surgery and try and give him something. So in such dire situations, I mean, you have to give a best shot, and even if you can give him a 2 or 3 meter vision, that would be handy and would make him ambulatory. But you have to be very careful. I'm approaching this case bimanually. Shaving alone cannot take you through, because you will land up with breaks as I landed up there. So again, with the torpedo at 6 o'clock position, I'm lifting up the membrane with the forceps in the left hand and the cutter in the right hand. You can see the membrane is very thick, the underlying retina very thin. This is the worst combination you can think of. But anyway, if you are doing things in good focus, if you're patient, if you're gentle, and if you're following the basic principles of VR surgery, then you can get through. So I'm creating planes of cleavage and then clearing out the membranes. See how thin and cellophane like the retina is, and you already probably noticed that there was a very broad subretinal band. So I am attempting to remove that subretinal band after giving my posterior pole PFCL support. It's a very thick one, and more importantly, the retina is thin. You can't pull hard, else you will land up with a huge GRT. So the loose end is trimmed to try and approach the band more proximally. I try to give counter traction with the light pipe, but even that's not helping. So what I do, I remove the band with the hand exchange technique. So bimanual subretinal band removal. Otherwise, this band wouldn't have come off with relative safety. So not much damage done, and the rest is routine. Thank you for your patient listening.